Hello, trading is closed on October 21st, 2014. I'm Jeff Tennant. As usual, let's go over the last calls. I said we were close enough to 1905.16 to expect it to print, which was an understatement. I also had some lower targets back in the 1890s. What happened to those? Well, if one looks at the futures market, the equivalents printed, and there was support under them, and we had a good rally. But unfortunately for me, futures prices do not count, and even though these prices were relevant there, we gapped up and came nowhere near the targets. That's what usually happens if they're not going to print in their preferred time frame, which actually helps us out, because if they were close, we would think they would print. When it's obvious from the open they're not going to print, we can shift gears. Last week the market was in free fall. I had a number of targets in the 1900s I said would print. We got one of them early in the day and a different one soon thereafter. The 1929.79 target proved to be a good support level later on in the day. Even though we had a huge collapse earlier in the month, there now remains only one mejt targeted higher levels which has not printed, 1961.99. The market likes to leave one failed target at extremes, but it also likes to have ultimate targets print, and that's kind of a conflicting picture as to whether or not we get to that level. Let's look at today. The market gave a few signals. It gave a sell signal in the afternoon, gives us a new target of 1929.34, most likely to print tomorrow. It doesn't help us as much when the market is having a strong impulsive move as it does when we are consolidating, because these targets are more likely to fail to print in their preferred time frame during strong impulsive moves. However, there is a sell signal described on page 120 of my book, which has failed only once, which says we're going to have a drop of at least 8 to 10 points at some time tomorrow. Unfortunately, it doesn't say where the drop starts from. We have a few other signals. When I showed this chart originally, and when we hit this line, I said we would hit this one. Well, we did a bit sooner than I thought we would. On the 15-minute chart, we have a 9-13-9 sequential sell. On the 30-minute chart, we have a sequential sell. On the 65-minute chart, we're 3 bars away. It would make a very pretty picture if we rallied for 3 hours or so, reversed in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, and then dropped. It's not required, but I think that's the most likely scenario for tomorrow. All I can say for certain is that the system looks for this entire rally we've had this week to be retraced at some time, and that there should be at least an 8 to 10 point drop at some point tomorrow. We have only one more target higher. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lower ones, and I think the lower ones at the very least will print. I think it's about 50-50 if the upper one does. And that's today's call.